Welcome to Illuminati Silver. We tell you the truth about silver. Today is Sunday, the 17th of February 2019, and we're providing our gold and silver weekly update for the week ending the 15th of February. Gold rose $8 last week from $1,315 to $1,323, having hit a high of $1,323 and a low of $1,303. In sterling terms, gold finished the week at £1,026, that's up £10. And in euros, it closed at €1,171, that's up €10 on the week. Silver fell 8 cents, from $15.85 to $15.78, having hit a high of $15.86 and a low of $15.51. In sterling terms, it closed at £12.24, that's down 2 pence. And in euros, it closed at 13.97 euros. That's down 0.04 euros. The gold to silver ratio rose from 83 to 1 to 83.8 to 1. The Dow Jones closed on Friday at 25,883, up 443 points on the day and up 777 points on the week. And the NASDAQ closed at 7,472, up 45 points on the day, and up 174 points on the week. And the S&P 500 closed at 2,775, up 29 points on the day, and up 68 points on the week. Brent crude rose $4.15, from $62.10 to $66.25. And US light crude rose $2.87 from $52.72 to $55.59. The dollar index stands at 96.90, that's up 0.27 on the week. Gold markets opened initially down, oscillated midweek and then rose on Friday, providing an $8 gain on the week. What sparked this rise and turnabout on Friday, you may very well ask? Well, it was a mix of softer US retail sales announced on Thursday for December, down 1.2%, plus lower than expected industrial production figures on Friday for January, which were down 0.6%, compared with a 0.1% gain the previous month. This served to weaken the dollar on Friday, even though it had been rising for most of the week, and still remained ultimately in positive territory. One must also bear in mind that the government shutdown may have had an effect on the retail sales figures, and therefore we may not see a slight rebound until the February figures are announced. At $1,323, gold is standing just a little shy of January's highs at 1,325, where technical analysts believe, if surpassed and closed above this figure, we'll see gold move towards the 1,365 level, testing the 2018 price highs, though it will have to overcome some recognized resistance at 1,350. Support levels of 1,311 were broken last week, but what is seen as a stronger support level at 1,300 held. China also came out with weaker consumer and producer prices than anticipated, with CPI figures having increased 1.7% over the past 12 months, compared with an envisaged 1.9%, and producer prices up just 0.1% against an expected 0.3%. This is therefore likely to put pressure on the value of the yuan due to the likelihood of deflation developing and thereby causing Chinese investors to invest in gold as a hedge. Silver prices initially fell last week and then oscillated generally lower until Friday, where it regained most of its losses but still managed to close some 8 cents lower. Our position on silver is little changed, in that we see strong support at the 1550 level and believes its price will oscillate within a dollar range for the next couple of weeks, though we have lowered that $1 oscillation to a price range of between $15.25 and $16.25. The CFTC has announced that it shall be producing its COT report on a catch-up basis every Tuesday and Friday. And so for our purposes, it should be another couple of weeks before we look at this again, as frankly, for our weekly update, we're more interested in the latest figures rather than necessarily the historical ones. So let's take a look at next week's economic reporting of consequence, which is as follows. On Monday, we have President's Day holiday, so no reporting due, and just the Home Builders Index on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we have the FOMC minutes, though we are expecting few surprises beyond the Fed's previous dovish statements and reliance on economic data. On Thursday, a few reports, including durable goods and core capital equipment orders for December, market manufacturing services flash PMI for February, and existing home sales for January. And frankly, on Friday, reports of very little significance. So let's now take a brief look at how sterling, the euro, the Canadian dollar and the Australian dollar have compared against the US dollar. So let's take a brief look at the currency charts for the week. This is the sterling versus US dollar. Started the week with 1.29 US dollars to the pound. The dollar actually strengthened, or if you like, sterling weakened slightly. Reversed, then sterling weakened considerably until the retail sales figures came out, which were actually more positive than expected, and we actually saw a slight recovery of the pound against the dollar, resulting in a closure of 1.28932 versus 1.29437. So frankly, very little change, nothing to get too excited about. Now let's take a quick look at the euro versus the US dollar. And as we can see, $1.13 to the euro weakening, strengthening, weakening, and strengthening slightly, ending the week at 1129. So 1132 versus 1129. So a slight weakening of the euro against the US dollar, but again, nothing significant. So let's look, you've got the Canadian dollar versus the US dollar. So they're 0.75 US dollars to the Canadian dollar at the start of the week and 0.754 at the end of the week. So basically the Canadian dollar strengthened, but ever so slightly. Again, nothing particularly momentous to take note of. And we'll have a quick look at the Australian dollar versus the US dollar. Slightly different here. They're 0.70 US dollars to the 1.70 US dollars to the Australian dollar at the start of the week, and then a 0.7142 US dollars to the Australian dollar at the end of the week. So in other words, the Australian dollar, although it opened slightly weaker, actually gained strength during the course of the week. And so you may have actually found gold prices in Australian dollars actually weakened slightly, or if it has gained, then it would have been a very small gain in comparison. So nothing particularly momentous on the currency charts for this week as far as the main currencies are concerned. I could look at the Japanese yen and a few others, but to be candid, they are the key ones for us to take note of for the moment. In conclusion, our view for next week's gold and silver prices is a further consolidation, but we can see gold attempt to breach that 1325 level. Much again is going to depend on the strength or otherwise of the US dollar and whether the trade talks with China actually improve. Silver has shown a little sign of weakness, but frankly we can still see it moving more or less in alignment with gold for the short term. This week we had prepared quite a substantive technical video, but when we played it back it became obvious that unless you were a technical trader, frankly it would have been gobbledygook. So we've omitted it this week in order to get this one out no later than Sunday morning. However, we shall attempt it for next week, mixing chartist signals with an explanation that everyone, regardless of technical knowledge, can understand. So once again, our video update next week will also be free, as we want you to see what a paid-for video would look like before you decide whether or not to commit any monies to it. Meanwhile, have a great weekend and a prosperous week ahead. We hope you have found this video interesting and informative, and if so, please give it a thumbs up and share it on social media. Please ensure that you have subscribed to our channel and press the bell sign so that you are notified of any future videos. Also, kindly visit our website at illuminatisilver.com, and if you haven't already done so, please subscribe either as a free or paying member for regular email updates and offers. Disclaimer: Illuminati Silver owners come from a background of banking, international wealth management and economics. Having now retired from these worlds, we are not qualified to give investment advice. Therefore, this and other productions must not be deemed to be giving such advice and merely represent the personal views of its owners.